Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back, I should say, to Behind the Bench. I am Rocco Granado from InLacrosseWeTrust.com, and with me, as usual, I almost forgot who it was, but from LaxPhilly.com, Gary Groove. Gary, long time no talk. How you been?
It's been a while, Rocco. It's been a while. We've had 14 different weather systems since the last time we spoke. We've dug out, and we're hoping that spring is somewhere near.
you dug out, got reburied, dug out again, and
threw a little ice on top of that for good measure, just so we could skate around a little bit. And then we're digging out. We're in the thaw right now.
In a thaw.
It's sad, when it's 32 or 33 degrees, and I think it's spring.
Right. Yeah, like I said, we're finally back between our schedules, with my odd work schedule, then not feeling good, your work schedule. It's really hard to get on, to just to do a recording for 1 hour. I mean, it's, not as easy as people think at times. But
an hour that the two of our schedules actually work.
Yeah, finally.
They seem to work all around the clock now. So.
All right. But we'll jump right into it, because this is where we stand right now in the NLL. Because the last time we spoke, things weren't this congested in the West. But we'll start in the East, where the Toronto Rock are sitting at 7-1, Buffalo at 8-2, Georgia 7-4, New England 5-4. That's your top four in the East. Then you have Rochester at 2-6 and Philadelphia at 2-8. Now, you hear some of the stats like Georgia 7-4. That's 11 games. Toronto's only played 8, so Toronto has 3 games in hand on Georgia yet. Buffalo, they have 2 games in hand on Buffalo, because Buffalo's played 10, and as I said, Toronto has only played 8. So those 2 games in hand are going to be huge for the Toronto Rock, because that could lengthen that lead in the East for that number 1 seed. New England, they've played 9 games, so they're at 5-4, and they got 2 games in on Georgia. So they win that, puts them in the tie for 3rd. And not that far behind, Buffalo, because from 4-1, it's only 2.5 games, and some of these teams have 8-9 games to go. Then, like I said, Rochester 2-6, Philly 2-8. Neither one of them are mathematically out of it. The schedules, you got to see how they work out, how they play. Philly hasn't won on the road lately. They have a heavily road schedule at the very end of the year. So, it's, who knows? I mean, we could have been talking more about, Philly has a chance at the playoff spot if they would have swept New England this past weekend. But I don't think that's in the minds of a lot of Wings fans right now. They know this is a growing team. When you go to the West, this is what's really crazy. Calgary's 5-5, Saskatchewan 4-4, San Diego 4-4. 3-way tie for first. But like I said, Calgary's played 10 games. Then Colorado at 3-5, Vancouver 3-7. So you got a logjam. From 1st to 5th is a 2-game separation. So there's a lot there that can happen. And we have some games this week, and and we had something real interesting happen, Gary, since the last time we spoke. The Philadelphia Wings turned around and traded their number 2 overall pick, Chris Cloutier, to Buffalo. What did you think of that trade? Oh. Okay, you've seen the loss, Gary. Let me see if I can call him back. I don't know why. Could have been the ever-loving...
You've reached 416-787.
Okay, just got to wait for Gary to call back in. I'm going to let him know. But, when this is the ever-loving technology we have nowadays, but we'll get Gary to answer here.
Yeah.
Gary.
I'm back.
Okay. What was the last thing I heard? you heard, I should say.
We were just talking about the West, but I was mentioning that Calgary was 5-5, which would be 5th place in the East.
Right. Yeah, that's where they're saying it's like three-way tie there, and as we spoke before, they played the most games out of those three teams with Saskatchewan and San Diego. So from 1st to 5th, it's a 2-game separation. Anything can happen there. But what I was saying, and I was saying this while I was calling you, the biggest thing that happened while we were, couldn't do a show or whatever, was the Philadelphia Wings trading Chris Clouchet to the Buffalo Bandits.
Yeah, and it looks like Clouchet found a home there. He looks pretty comfortable over there with the Bandits.
Yeah, I mean, he's played one game so far.
Yeah.
And he scored one goal, so we'll see what happens there. Maybe they could use him differently than the Wings could.
Well, his role's obviously going to change. He's going to be secondary to some of the firepower in there.
Right. But also, he's not going to be the one setting the picks. He'll be the one coming off the picks because once the Wings brought back Kevin Crowley, his role was changing on the team. And according to Coach Day, he couldn't adapt to that change. He came into camp out of shape. And, we all know how Paul Day is about, things like that. Just wasn't, there taking, bad shots, missing the net. We hope, see what happens. Maybe, being in Buffalo is the place that he really needed to be. And, he can grow from there. Maybe he couldn't have been the centerpiece, we'll say, of that team. Living up to,
also home now, too, so that could help him also.
It could, yes. But in return, the Wings picked up a 2021 first-round pick and also defenseman Ryan Wagner, who has played pretty good in his first few games.
He's a solid defenseman. I think Buffalo kind of hurt to get rid of him because Buffalo's not very good on defense, and the few that they do have, they wanted to keep. And Wagner's a pretty solid defenseman.
Yeah, I mean, they've let up 110 goals so far in 10 games. So that's 11 goals a game while they're putting in almost 15 a game.
Right.
Yeah, so they're right there. As long as they put the goals in, the defense part, I guess they can live with, we'll say. Now, a couple other things out. I should have mentioned this to you earlier in the week, but I started seeing it around on a lot of social media with certain teams saying, "Oh well, who would you protect now?" We're halfway through the season. We have an expansion draft coming. 2 teams have been announced: the Halifax Thunderbirds, which everybody knows by now will be the current Rochester Nighthawk team.
Looks like the Halifax Angry Birds, if you ask me. But anyway.
Yeah. And then you're going to have the New York, New Jersey, or whatever they're going to be called, the Riptide.
Mm-hmm. Which look like the San Jose Stealth.
Right. Now, that's going to put 8 teams in the East. So there's got to be some kind of division realignment, unless there's still that announcement for a Western team to be put out there. We've talked about San Francisco and Dallas and places like that, a number of times, but I would have thought by now another one would have been announced out in the West.
Right.
But if not, if they do this, you're looking at a 13-team league with 8 of the teams located on the eastern part of the country. So
it's going to be an interesting schedule, that's for sure.
Right, but not only that, but how do you? I mean,
well, who in the East can you move to the West?
Well, I wouldn't even say move to the West. You would have to make. I would almost say you have to make a Canadian division.
No, I wouldn't do that.
And then
you got teams in the West.
but then you have an American East and an American West, or so. I don't know. You have to do.
You put a Central Division in there.
Yeah.
You do a Canadian East, and you have Toronto traveling to Vancouver, and then having to travel to Saskatchewan, and then having to come back here. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know, but
Canadian teams that are there right now are in the East, in the West. So that's retarded.
Yeah. So what can you do? I mean,
you can make a Central Division,
right?
in which you would have, say, Saskatchewan, Calgary, Colorado, that kind of idea.
Okay, so you figure Calgary, Saskatchewan, then who?
I don't know. You got every team in the East there is in the East.
Yeah, I mean, if you go by the way the location is, if you work your way up from the south.
Well, actually, if you're probably Central, I would use you could probably use Toronto, Buffalo, Rochester, and New York.
No, I would say.
Leave the rest of the teams in the East.
Well, you have 13, so you have to have 2 4s and a 5. I would say.
We keep the West as the West because they're all West. And out of that 8-team East, you would be making a Central and an Eastern division.
Okay, where you would go Toronto, Buffalo, Rochester, Halifax. Halifax. Halifax.
And you would have Philadelphia, New England, Georgia,
and New York.
And what's the other one there now?
No, you put what you do is you have Toronto, Buffalo, Rochester, Halifax.
No, Halifax too far east. I would put Philadelphia, New England, Halifax, and Georgia on the Eastern Division, and I would have Toronto, Buffalo, New York, and Rochester as the Central Division.
Now, why would you move New York when it's only an hour and a half away from Philadelphia?
Because I need another team there, and that's the closest one.
That's why you put Halifax.
No, Halifax is hours east.
It's hours from
east as you're going to go in Canada.
It's hours from everybody.
But it's as far east as you can go.
Right.
Canada. That's like putting Vancouver in the Central Division. That makes no sense.
But you put Halifax in that division with Rochester to promote that rivalry right there. That's what you do.
Logistically, it won't work. But anyways.
I don't think it would work the other way, that's for sure.
Okay.
They're just so far out east out there, it's just crazy no matter how you look at it, no matter where you travel from.
Until Montreal gets a team, you're not going to see anything different, right?
Right. So there's something that they have to figure something out.
On the Eastern Seaboard, both Philadelphia and New England are on the Eastern Seaboard, are they not?
New England more than Philly, yeah.
Yeah, but still, Philly is right close to the seaboard, correct?
Right.
Yeah, so that's where I would put that in the East.
Yeah, but you also look at New York coming back with a team that brings back the old New York-Philly rivalry, and you look at Halifax in that other division with Rochester. That automatically starts a rivalry right there.
Okay, well then you have 9 teams in the damn division again, right? So something has to give. Something,
yeah. But that's why we're here and they're in the office, and we'll have to see what they, truly decide to do. But then you're looking at, teams that would have to start protecting players who can be protected, who can't, and that'll be, further down the line. I already got my selections for the Wings right now, and that's likely to change with free agency and trading deadline. But let's talk about what we have coming up tonight. We got 2 games tonight, nothing tomorrow night, which is very, very odd. No games on a Saturday, and then you have the Sunday afternoon game, which everybody can say, oh yeah, it's New England.
Yeah.
It's New England on a Sunday afternoon. First game tonight is, I guess you could say, is the rubber match. Buffalo against Rochester. It's in Rochester.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of bad blood, like usual, between the two cities.
Yes.
Even more so now that there's been one gentleman who's made or had made a Halifax cape that he intends on wearing at the game. and the Rochester fans have found out about it. So if there wasn't already bad blood, there will be.
There will be, yeah. So, yeah, they're playing tonight, and then later on tonight, an hour later, you got Colorado at Saskatchewan. And, guys, we've talked about this before. This is normally where you say, oh, yeah, Saskatchewan's going to go all over Colorado.
Well, not the team that I've watched so far this year.
No. I mean, you don't know who's going to show up.
I don't even know who's in net.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I was pretty shocked to see Evan Kirk not in net last week against Vancouver.
Yeah, so who knows what's,
The shoot, so to speak.
Yeah. So who knows what's going on there. And then, of course, the big game is 1 o'clock on Sunday from New England, where the Toronto Rock will visit the New England Black Wolves. So you got three heavy games. All three of them will definitely impact their division races. That's for sure. Can New England get within a game and a half, or are they going to drop down to 3.5? Colorado, are they going to inch closer to Saskatchewan? Is Rochester going to pick up that third win? And
will Buffalo be ahead of Toronto at the end of the weekend?
Right. Yeah, because there's Toronto's got 2 games in hand.
But it's percentage points that are separating them right now.
Right. Yeah, and Toronto's 7-1 to 8-2. So there's a big difference there. So we'll just have to see. But at the end of the year, all teams will play 18 games, and you just go from there. It looks like those 2 teams are definitely going to be in the playoffs, with no ifs, ands, or buts. Just the rest of what's going to happen. But let's look at what has happened. I mean, last weekend, Toronto escapes with a 12-11 victory over a tough San Diego team. Now, obviously, you were there. What did you see from that San Diego team?
They have a very good defense, that San Diego team. But to say escapes, I don't know. I think Toronto fell asleep in the last 5 minutes of the game, and they took a 3-goal lead and made that into a 1-goal lead very quickly. Things that I saw Toronto be able to shut down the big guys on San Diego. Austin Stotts only had a goal. Garrett Billings wasn't much of a factor in this game, but Casey Jackson was. He had himself a great game at 4 goals and an assist, and he was everywhere on the floor. But as for the other guys, Toronto's defense neutralized them pretty well. A couple of really crazy goals that I'd seen.
Right.
I saw Dan Craig score from behind the net. I watched Dan Lintner get the game-winning goal from behind the net, which was wild. Because Dan Lintner stands about 5'8". For him to score from behind the net, he needs to get some pretty good leaping extension. So it was interesting. It was interesting. Very clean game. They're a very good team, San Diego. They're a very quick team.
Right.
And Ciliano, he's the real deal, man. He had a great game in net.
Yeah, it seems like he's been reborn.
For my liking. But, it worked. It worked.
Yes.
No, I didn't think that, I really didn't think that Adam Jones should have gotten a 5-minute penalty.
Yeah,
or was it the goalie interference one, the 2-minute penalty?
Right.
He's diving in to try and score, and Ciliano just absolutely embellished it. It's funny because as he was walking by the Rock bench, they let him have it too. That's something they need to look into. They need to kind of, I guess, review the play at times, I would say. Yeah, because not everything is cookie cutter.
No.
There's one thing with an intent. There's another thing when you're trying to make a play.
Yeah, because we all know that
the last guy that's going to try and go over somebody's knees is Adam Jones.
Right. And we all know how goalies lean into the play every now and then also. Mm-hmm. So, there's a bunch of stuff.
The night that he done it. And so I say I didn't put much thought into it, but apparently LeBranch and the boys were
Right.
You know, and of course when you have LeBranch and Matt Robinson, you know, my favorite guy.
Yeah.
And all we needed was Cardonio, we would have had a full house.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? But I'm trying to think, where was the infamous Mark Cardonio?
Well, he was working Saturday night, and I think he was working the Rochester game.
Yeah, because he wasn't in Philly, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, I think he was working the Rochester one.
Well, let's see. Well, Rochester had off last week.
No, he worked.
Well, it wasn't Rochester.
No, he worked the Buffalo game.
Buffalo Calgary.
Yeah.
Which, oh my God, they only had.
He had 6 penalties and nothing in the second half.
My God.
He must have lost his whistle.
Yeah, probably. But that was another game.
It was a damn good game. San Diego is definitely a good team.
Yeah.
And you know, the drafting and the few extra signings they had was really good.
Yeah, and the Wings will get to see them in a few weeks. In a few weeks coming up, so it should be kind of interesting.
I got a chance to talk with Brandon Cleland's dad again in the tunnel, and you know, we go back a little ways. And he seems to be very happy in San Diego after the Vancouver years.
Who wouldn't be?
He's doing very well on the faceoffs. Even had a goal.
Who wouldn't be happy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
First, right?
Yeah.
And he got to stay in the West since he was a plumber out there, right? So.
Right, yeah, so you can't complain too much on that one. Now, the next game we had that last week was kind of a rematch, you could say. Not so necessarily a rematch, but it was the old Philadelphia Wings team against the new Philadelphia. I wouldn't say Wings team, I'd say franchise. Because a lot of players that were on that team are no longer on the New England Black Wolves.
Well, you know, going through that first quarter, I actually thought Philadelphia was, you know, they actually righted the ship. And whatever they had done differently worked. But, leave it to Philadelphia to make it an interesting game.
Well, no.
The second quarter happened, right?
Well, I mean, they were 4-1 at the end of one. And in the second quarter, they scored a combined 9 goals.
Yeah.
New England outscored them 5-4, but Philly still had an 8-6 lead going into the half. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so every time New England tried to put a run together, Philly came right back at them. Okay? Yeah, like I said, you were looking at 4-1 at the end of the first. You know, New England comes out, scores 2 straight, and then Philly says, okay, we're going to put our 2 up. And that's what they did. Games in the past, teams would go on 4, 5, 6 goal runs and just take them right out of the game. But they threw in their 2 right away, and they stayed right with them until they put in their knockout punch in the fourth quarter, where they went on a 4-goal run to go up by 5. With 5 minutes into the fourth quarter. So they made sure that New England didn't get a chance to really, pick up on things. Some interesting things in that game. Brett Manny picked up 6 penalty minutes, and
it takes him two seasons to get 6 minutes.
Yes, and in the first one that was called, when he was going to the penalty box, force of habit, he started walking over to the Wings penalty box, not the New England one, which was kind of funny. He was walking over to the wrong penalty box, and then
we got to get him an all-star system. He's getting up there in age now,
Yeah. Well, he's been in 9 years right now in the league, so he's getting ready to go 10 years. Then a couple other penalties that he had were from the heat of the moment with the game, the intensity of it all. And some fans were getting on him about it, and I had a chance to talk to him the following night, or the following afternoon, I should say, in New England about that, and he was like, "Yeah," he goes, "That's not me. I just got caught up in the in the moment and the way the game was and everything." He goes, "Me and Kevin are cool. Everything's fine." So, those who know Brett Matty know that he's not, like that. That he wouldn't intentionally do something, to that extent. But this game, I mean, towards the end, there was it really got physical.
Yeah.
They're just, roughing minors, double minors. Tyler Digby picked up a double minor with like less than a minute to go, and Crawford picks up a hold, and it just really, a lot.
Well, it was setting the stage for the next day.
Oh yeah, and it did set the stage. I mean, the power play started off good, but they went 2 for 8. You can't go 2 for 8. You got to look at doing at least 4 for 8 on the power play out there. So the power play is still kind of suffering. But a lot of players on this Philly team had something to prove. Matt Rambo, for one. Okay, he was drafted by New England. I'm not sure if they ever even brought him into camp after they drafted him. I do know that they said, you got to work on this, you got to work on different things, you're not ready for the box game yet. Well, he must have worked on it big time, because he popped in a hat trick, and he's been one of the more consistent players on this squad right now.
Right.
Kevin Crowley throws in his 4. Blaze Reardon, a goal and 4 assists. Justin Gutterding got his first action, picked up 3 assists. Paul Day said the following night in New England that he would like to see Gutterding shoot the ball a little more. Josh Courier picks up a pair. Jordan Hall, 1 goal, 5 assists. That's a Jordan Hall stat line right there.
Yeah, we haven't seen that this year.
No. And then Kyle Matisse had 4 assists, but in this game he wasn't up on the offense. He was more transition and defense in this game, so he wasn't up there for the offense this time. But yeah, this was a solid game by Philadelphia. And yeah, they pick up their second win, and things look great until
yeah. And we had the next night.
Yeah, the next day. This
now, obviously, Philadelphia is showing more of the wear and tear than New England did. Because in the middle of there, what was that, an 8-goal run?
For New England?
5-goal run.
5-goal.
5-goal run. It just took the game completely out of...
Well, they scored 6 out of the next 7. They outscored them 6-1 after a 2-0 lead.
And then they pulled out again in the third going into the fourth.
Fourth, yeah.
5-goal run, right?
Yeah. It just... You see the Wings team come out and they score 2 quick goals on the power play. And you're sitting there, I'm sitting up on that little riser that they had for the press. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh God, they turned the corner. Here they come. And then out of nowhere, like I said, New England just started pumping the ball into the net. And the team looked like they were just standing still, literally. The momentum, the speed that New England had just made it look like that the Wings were standing still. Or as Paul Day would say, they look like zombies on the floor.
Mm-hmm. At that stage they did.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what it looked like on TV, but being right there in the corner, watching it, that's just what it looked like to me.
Well, it was bizarre because every second it seemed as though they were scoring, right?
Yeah.
Like literally for those 5 minutes, every 45 seconds in it went. It seemed.
Yeah, you go up 2-0, 2 power play goals, thinking, hey, things are looking good. Then before you know it, you're down 8-5 at the half, which means you got outscored 8-3 from the 3:28 mark of the first quarter. So for the next 26 minutes, you scored 3 goals while your opponent put in 8 and chased your starter from the net in the meantime. And then, third quarter, basically the same thing. LeBlanc came in, he got the goal, Rambo would score, and then, New England Philly were matching goal for goal until after Blaze Reardon scored at 7:48. It got within 10-8. And then that's where the floodgates opened. This is the knockout punch. 2 goals, the final 2 goals in the third quarter, and then 3 goals in the first 2 minutes and 10 seconds of the fourth. That put up the lead of 15-8. And that was basically it right there. I mean, New England came out, they stayed with them. They beat them 17-11 was the final. Crowley scoring a short-handed goal with 13 seconds to go. But, by that point, everybody, standing around. I mean, frustration hitting everybody. Even David DeRuscio, he picked up a slash during everything. 4 coincidental minors 15 seconds into the game on this one. Power play went great for Philly, 3 for 5. But that was it. That was the only good thing about it. New England found a way to neutralize Trevor Baptiste. Because Baptiste only went 16 for 31 on the faceoffs.
Yeah, I wonder if the book's out on him now.
Either that, or maybe he might have still been, struggling doing back-to-back games. Don't know. Maybe somebody has found the book out on him. Because what did he do? The first game he was 17 for 26 against New England. Yeah. Fournier went 10 out of 19. So maybe Fournier knows something that others don't. So who knows? With that that going on there. But did you happen to see the shorthanded goal by Brett Manny?
Yes, I did.
I have that interview. I have it up on our Behind the Bench Facebook page, and he says in there that when he was going down with Brock, he caught the pass from him, and the first thing that entered his mind was, I have to finish this. Because he told me that pass from Brock was a rocket behind the back. And it just went right into his stick, and he said he had to finish it. He don't get too many opportunities like this. And then, at the end of the game, to show what type of an unselfish player he is, he's running down the floor with Dylan Evans on him, and he's got the height advantage on Dylan Evans. And I'm watching it, and I could could easily see all Brett had to do was just loft it a little bit in the air, and it would most likely go in. And even if he missed it, it wouldn't have mattered because you're up by 7 with a minute something to go. But he sees Callum Crawford coming down the left side. He just tosses a little 10-foot pass to his left and lets Crawford pick up his 5th goal of the night in that. That's what you call very unselfish. Because I think anybody else would have just, went ahead and did whatever. Gary, hold on for a second. Because the thing just completely froze